Ladies and gentlemen, Abe Foxman, Holocaust survivor and member of the United States Holocaust Memorial Council.
Mr. President, thank you for standing with us. Thank you. Teure und liebe Brüder und Schwestern, Cheris Hapleto, wir stehen und wir seien da heint noch einmal zu geben Edes. My dear fellow survivors, we are here again today to stand and bear witness. I was born in the wrong time at the wrong place for a Jewish kid. Nazi-occupied Poland in 1940 was not the best place to be born. Yet, I managed to survive as a hidden child by the intercession of one special person's kindness, courage, compassion, decency, and most likely several miracles. As I grew older, I tried to understand what it is that I had survived. And the first set of questions were very serious existential questions of why. Why did the Shoah, the Holocaust, happen to the Jewish people? Why did over 1.5 million Jewish children perish? Why was the world silent? And why didn't the Almighty intervene? To those universal questions of why were added very personal questions of why. Why me? Why me? And not the Chanalach, the Shleimalach, the Saralach, the Meshalach. Why me? In that struggle to understand, two facts became clear. One is that the world knew. The world knew. There was no CNN, no Fox, there were no satellite feeds from faraway places, there was no internet, there was no 24/7 news, and yet the world knew. Those in positions of power to make decisions to stop what was happening knew. They knew how many Jews were killed in Lodz, in Baranovich, in Minsk, in Bialystok. They knew what was happening to the Jews. And as Ken Burns in his PBS series revealed to the world, revealed how much America knew and how little it did. So the first lesson for us is to know about anti-Semitism, bigotry, racism, to know who it is that threatens our democracy, our freedoms. It is important that we know, but knowing is not enough. The second thing that became clear to me was that wherever, whenever, however good people said no, whenever good people stood up and said no to hate, Jews lived, gays lived, Roma lived. There was an Oskar Schindler who saved 1,200 Jews. There was a Raoul Wallenberg, a Swedish diplomat, who saved maybe 100,000 Jews. There were 60 diplomats who acted against the wishes of their governments and saved thousands of Jews. There was a Denmark, a Bulgaria, and Albania who saved all their Jews. I stand here today because there was a Polish Catholic lady who could barely read and write, who did not sit down and weigh and measure the risks, and yet risked her life every single day for 4 years to protect the life of another human being, a Jewish child. And her name was Bronislava Kurpi. She baptized me, gave me a false identity, and protected me from her neighbors as well as the Gestapo. So I stopped asking the questions of why and began to ask the questions on the order of what if. What if instead of one Raoul Wallenberg, there were 10,000? What if instead one Oskar Schindler, there were 10,000 Oskar Schindlers? What if this wonderful country of ours had permitted the passenger ship to St. Louis to dock at these shores and unload its cargo of refugees? What if we bombed Auschwitz? What if Canada had found room for 5,000 Jewish orphans? What if we traded trucks for Jews? What if Switzerland would have permitted the entry of Jewish orphans? The Dominican Republic said yes to Jewish refugees. Cuba said yes to Jewish refugees. But America and Canada said no. And sadly, there was no state of Israel to open its doors. Bearing witness also gives me an opportunity to say thank you to my nanny, Bronislava Kurpi, whom I never thanked and whom I never said goodbye to. Dear friends, the Holocaust did not begin with gas chambers. It began with words, ugly words, hateful words, demonizing, degrading, debasing Jews. And those words became ugly, hateful deeds. We need to speak up and out. We need to protest when anyone who is maligned or treated with contempt, no matter who the victim or the perpetrator, especially now when we live in such super polarized environment, politicized with a lack of civility and a lack of truth, enhanced by the so-called miracle, modern miracle of the internet. Jewish tradition teaches us that life and death is in the power of the tongue. 3 times a day, Jews who follow that tradition ask the Almighty, Nitzor Lishoni Mira, keep my mouth from speaking evil. We believe in the power of words, in the power of good people to stand up and say no. Never again was an 11th commandment etched in the aftermath of Auschwitz. It was etched by the Jewish people based on a Jewish experience. But never again that pledge, that imperative, that commandment has a universal message and mandate. For all of us today must bear witness and be faithful to the commandment which instructs all of us to never again be silent. Never again be silent whenever anyone is in fear, in danger, isolated, singled out because the color of their skin, their religion, their ethnic origin, their sexual orientation, or anything that makes them different from the rest. Who would have believed that we, the survivors, would in our lifetime bear witness to a global epidemic of anti-Semitism, including in our beloved country? That Israel, the Jewish state, would again be under attack. That the Jewish people would again be under attack. That Zionism, the national liberation movement of the Jewish people, would again be challenged and attacked. So it is again our responsibility, fellow survivors, not only to bear witness, but to shout out, for we dare not be silent.